Christmas and happy holidays, people! It's your old pal Ray here to bring you a new anime review just in time for the holidays. And when I think about this time of the year, I of course think about dancing, singing zombie idols. Don't you? But before we continue, today's video is sponsored by me. I have a new podcast out there called the Watch and Play Podcast. Me and my friends talk about anime, games, movies, and pop culture. Check it out on all these platforms shown here. And if you send us an email question or correction before January 1st, 2019, you could win an Amazon gift card. The email address for the podcast will be down below in the description, and more details can be found on my previous video, which I will link at the end of this review. Now back to your regular scheduled programming. Today I bring you my review of Zombieland Saga. This title is an interesting mix of comedy horror as well as an idol show with a little touch of drama. This anime is made by the good people over at MAPPA, the same studio behind Zanki no Terra, Rage of Bahamut Genesis, and Yuri on Ice. This anime is directed by Munehasai Sakai, who has directed Sailor Moon Crystal and One Piece Strong World. At this time, you can watch Zombieland Saga on Crunchyroll if you're looking for Japanese audio with English subtitles, and English dub consumers can find Zombieland Saga on Funimation now as well. The year is 2008, and our heroine, Sakura Minamoto, is a high school student who aspires to be an idol singer one day. Or should I say she did, because Sakura is killed instantly in the opening scene of this series. However, her tale does not end there. She does regain consciousness 10 years later in an unfamiliar spooky mansion and finds herself surrounded by rampaging zombies. She does manage to escape the horde of zombies, but only to realize she too is now among the walking dead. Sakura is then saved by Kotaro Tatsumi, a mysterious, eccentric man that managed to bring her back to life. Just don't ask him how he did it. It turns out that Kotaro brought Sakura back to life to form an idol group and put their local town, Saga, back on the map. You see, all the zombies from earlier are other girls he wants to participate in his idol scheme, who all hail from different time periods. They attacked Sakura previously because they haven't regained their humanity just yet. However, this small fact does not stop Kotaro from forcing Sakura to jump on stage and give a live performance in front of an audience with a bunch of mindless zombies, which is only possible thanks to Kotaro's godlike talents with makeup, which allows the girls to look like ordinary cute idols. Despite her lack of experience, Sakura manages to turn the concert into a success. So much so that by the end of episode 1, most of the girls regain their previous personas, though they all have difficulties trying to remember their past and how they died. The rest of the series plot can be described as a motley crew of zombie misfits who have to get their act together and work their way to the top in order to become the perfect idol group and save their little town, even if it kills them. Again. The premise of Zombieland Saga is ridiculous, which is a perfect setting for this supernatural musical comedy. I often found myself laughing early on watching the madness unfold in front of my eyes. The personalities of the main characters are a nice mix that allow for entertaining shenanigans to occur on screen. Going down the list of characters, Sakura is the innocent, positive, straight woman in this group of wacky characters. Saki is an ex-gang leader who isn't afraid to express her thoughts and using violence. Ai is the calm, cool, collective type. Junko is the silent, reserved kind out of the bunch. Yugari is the mature one who is well versed in traditional Japanese customs and lived in a different century compared to the other girls. Lily is the smallest and the most happy-go-lucky, cheerful one out of the group. And lastly, there's Tei, the only one who doesn't ever fully obtain her humanity and constantly attacks her fellow idols and nearby strangers for that matter. I enjoyed all of these characters and the interactions. If I had a complaint regarding the characters of the show, it would be Kotaro. He does come off over the top, which is the point of his character in these situations, but at times I found him a bit too annoying. Having said that, he never got on my nerves as much as similar characters out there, and the show even managed to give him some development here and there. Speaking of character development, there is a good amount of that happening in this series as well, involving the girls and their past. Some character backgrounds were more interesting than others, though I appreciate the writers were trying to give everyone a moment in the spotlight. The ending stops at a good point in the narrative, but it definitely saves a mystery or two and gives a hint of a potential second season. But there are no official plans in the works just yet. The ending we do get is powerful, and I'll even admit, I got a little teary-eyed at the end with Sakura's past, since it reminded me of myself and how I used to think back in the day. And it's little moments like those that remind me, this right here is why I love anime. I myself have never been a fan of idol shows, not because I dislike them or anything, I just never sat down and seen one. And honestly, I probably would have passed on this one too, if it wasn't for the reputation of the studio MAPPA. I appreciate the studio's previous works and I have been pleased with their outstanding animation, and Zombieland Saga continues that trend for the most part. And the character designs done by Kasumi Fukagawa are really charming and memorable. They remind me of designs used in trigger shows, especially with the multi-hair colors and accessories. Even their zombie designs are adorable and made me think of the movie The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is perfect for this time of year. The thing I was most shocked by in this anime was the lack of perverted fan service. I imagine shows of this kind would have the occasional cheap bra and panty shot, but I can't remember any such scene in this title. If there was any, it was very short and had some context to the scene at hand, not just a whoops, a sudden breeze blew up my skirt. It was rather refreshing to see creators focus on making these female characters actual people, and not just soulless dolls. Regarding the animation, it is top-notch stuff. Well, most of the time. The lip sync and dancing choreograph is impressive to watch when it is done using more traditional 2D methods. There are times, however, when the animators decide to use 3D CG models during some of the performances in this anime, and they are not as impressive as the ones done the old-fashioned way. I suppose the 3D models are okay by themselves, but it's the actual animation of the CG models that leaves much to be desired. It gave me flashbacks of old PlayStation games. At least they don't always use that animation style, though it is a bit higher than I thought it would be. It wasn't a deal breaker for me, but the animation switch is very noticeable and might turn off some viewers. When I started watching Zombieland Saga, I thought there was only the Japanese version to view at the time. However, it turns out Funimation had dubbed several episodes as part of its simulcast for the season. So I took a look at both performances, and while I did enjoy both English and Japanese audio, to me there are some clear positives and negatives between the two. I prefer Sakura's voice in Japanese since she comes off more optimistic and naive, which matches her character's personality better in my opinion. Having said that, I think the English dub does do a better job with Saki's character because I thought her English voice actress sounded more tough and rebellious, which suited her character better. I also enjoyed the extra zombie puns they added to the English dub. The one performance I had more difficulties with was with Mamoru Miona's performance as Kotaro, which is something I thought I would never say about this famous Japanese actor. I really love all his other performances I have seen him in, but I thought he was trying a little too hard to come off over the top and sometimes he rubbed me the wrong way. But he also did make me laugh. I guess it just wasn't a home run performance for me. Now, the original music done for this anime sounded great. The musical score has a deep range to it. It does an excellent job of portraying a friendly, spooky atmosphere, as well as giving a more dramatic cinematic vibe to it during the more emotional scenes. Unfortunately, the same can't be said about the idol songs used in the show. They are not terrible, they are just typical Japanese pop songs that are not the most remarkable thing ever. Speaking about the idol songs, I was disappointed when I found out the English dub currently does not dub over those performances. They simply switch over to the Japanese audio during those moments. It seems like that's the standard now these days for musical shows, but I still have vivid memories of the outstanding performance done in the English dub of Beck Mongolian Chop Squad, and I was hoping they would have that same level of detail here in this dub. Hopefully it's just because of a time issue, and they'll be able to put in that extra effort for the home release for Zombieland Saga. To recap, I really enjoyed the humor of Zombieland Saga. The clashing of the various characters' personalities was also very entertaining to watch. I even found myself getting emotionally attached to the protagonist's backstory. The character designs are unique and have a cute charm to them. The animation done by MAPPA is great when it's not using CG models. Minor complaints aside, the voice acting is solid in both English and Japanese. The background music takes the show to another level. Now if only I could get my idol songs in English. So with all that in mind, and based off my own enjoyment and preferences, I give Zombieland Saga an outstanding rating. I had a ton of fun watching this horror musical comedy, and I'll be keeping my eye out for a second season, if that ever happens. But hey, that's just my opinion. What do you guys think about Zombieland Saga? Am I the only one who had to hold back the waterworks at the end? Share your thoughts down below. You can help me out by clicking on that like button, and be sure to click on the bell if you don't want to miss a beat. I also have a new podcast I mentioned earlier, where we mostly talk about anime, games, and pop culture, called the Watch and Play Podcast. Check that out if you're into podcasts, and consider leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Later!